Hello and welcome to a new episode of Critical Coffee Considerations with me, Francis Beck. This episode is Coffeelicious camping trips, of course, because I've been doing an exploratory mission with a Volkswagen California to see if there's a business model inside. The reason is simply I haven't been really selling enough of my coffee that I roast, so feel welcome to go to www.212coffees.be and help yourself out with some of my delicious coffees for your own Coffeelicious camping adventures. Now I wanted to specifically try out the California plug-in hybrid, of course, because as a roaster this whole adventure for me started to be able to use some of the solar power I was generating, of course, on top of my roof and use it for some good, being small scale coffee roasting, which gives you just the best quality coffee at a very, local level, because you're not able to produce that much. But if you have many micro roasteries, then you kind of solve one problem, that is how to use all the distributed solar energy on people's roofs. If you just have this a bigger amount of very small scale kind of roasteries like myself. But this business model for me for the moment isn't exactly working out perfectly, for the simple reason that I'm still selling under my capacity. So now I have this partnership with Dr. B from Bruges, who has an Alia bullet. So we're kind of roasting coffees together for his small company and my small company. And on this camping trip, I'm actually using his Burundi beans of excellent quality in the camping van in a mocha pot. So let's go over this small trip. So it started out with not being able to rent the plug-in hybrid, because at this point the Volkswagen Center was only renting out the older model, and also they are very skeptical about the plug-in hybrid, saying you won't get that much mileage out of it, which is something that people of course have tremendous importance for when they go out camping. They want to do like 1,000 kilometers. That doesn't make sense from my perspective. I like the plug-in hybrid, at least the tech sheet, which tells me it might do 90 kilometers on pure electricity, which would allow me to roast my coffee on electricity and deliver it around Bruges, my area, just from when it arrives in the port, because I can basically also go and pick it up at Sea Bruges, where we have at least Ethico. I guess I could also get just short of Antwerp, I guess. So Ethico, I guess, would be my only partner to be able to do that. But I could get it from port to your door if you're a Bruges resident with just electricity. So that would be kind of a small step. Of course, the plug-in hybrid, I would then also still be able to, use gasoline to be able to do the extra mileage when it's, necessary. And according to the tech sheet, you get like just 2 liters per 100 kilometers in combined usage. But if anybody knows how much you can actually do with a fully charged battery and a fully charged gasoline tank, I would be very happy to know, because it's so difficult to find this information, and that makes me think that the Volkswagen guy being skeptical might have a point. Anyway, our trip started out with the transporter last model, and we first went to the Belgium-French border near Dunkirk, at an unpronounceable something. Anyway, 4th of June is such a central position in the history between Belgium and France, and also Germany. So this became part of this fortification line that the French wanted to build up to protect themselves from the Germans, and they left like key points basically open to lure them in and then, you know, destroy them, which eventually this plan totally just, well, it just ended up being an open door through the Ardennes Massif for the Germans to get into France. So that plan backfired just a little bit. So on our camping trip we were kind of following the French-Belgium border on the French side, and found ourselves in this small town, Bruges, in this national park, where we decided to stay for the night. Now I wanted to go to this parking lot showing a camper van symbol, thinking, well, I'll get some more service there. My wife wanted to be in nature, which then subsequently explains how we got stranded, because on the other side she was also terribly afraid of, you know, freezing during the night, rightfully so, because it went up to, I guess, -1 or -2, and luckily she had the common sense of forcing us to buy the 0-degree sleeping bags, and that was really a good call. But then even with those bags she was still afraid that we would be freezing, and so I felt morally obliged to try and switch on the auxiliary heating that the California came with. Of course that ended up depleting our batteries. Although I didn't have it the whole night, luckily somebody passed, you know, when it was already dark, honking, which made me understand, like, oh, he's wanting to communicate something, probably because he sees there's still too much activity using battery, although I switched off the lights, of course, but that was the right call also. So I did just completely switch off everything, but that didn't help. In the morning everything was frozen around us. I was not able to start the car, and then of course we were helped out. We didn't have to be towed away, just, you know, bootstrapped the battery, and we were on our way to our next stop, going back to Belgium, to, you know, they claim themselves the smallest city in the world, Bruges. Though, you know, it's a big claim, but it's actually not true. Of course it also depends on how you define a city. You could say definitely the smallest city in Belgium. And there we had just a brilliant spot of sleeping, basically just under the castle. So in Belgium, if you don't see that it's forbidden to sleep, you know, again, you cannot just start camping, but you can sleep in your car or in your mini camping or bigger camper, as long as you don't do any camping behavior. It would be lovely if there would be some, you know, European laws regulating camping, although it's, you know, it's just very diverse. Of course, from Bruges, you know, so we had a lovely stay there. Then we came here to the nature. This is actually the first national nature park in Flanders, the High Campine in the Limburg province. Just a lovely national park. I highly recommend you to come and enjoy the nature here. It is part of the Nature 2000 network. That, if you're not familiar with Nature 2000, those are all the areas in Europe that are protected for the Birds Directive and Habitats Directive, it's then called. But, you know, you can just basically think of it as a lot of, you know, areas where we're protecting nature to help flourish nature and the species that are of special value to us, to help them survive the difficult circumstances that are ahead of us. So this is here, you can see just a lovely area. And now we were finally at a regular camping site, so we were able to just, you know, get out, the whole setup, the chairs, the outside table, you know, the little outside roof you can build up when you're staying in a place where you're allowed to do camping, of course. And to accompany us, we had those lovely Burundi beans. Again, a shout out to Dr. B. And the amazing thing was, I didn't only bring the mocha pot with me on this adventure, I also had the AeroPress. So the first coffee I made, actually, when we were stranded in Bruges, was an AeroPress, and that was nice. You know, it gives you a little bit more of liquid and hot liquid. But then, as we were stranded so long in Bruges, I decided, okay, finally, let's give the mocha pot another chance, because it has been ages. This is actually my wife's mocha pot, because I use our old mocha pot to heat my flare, which for me is still the ultimate device as a home barista, you know, to have like a cheap way of making excellent espresso. And since I discovered that, I was just kind of pushed away from the mocha pot, which at some point was also for me my way of trying to make a cappuccino at home. But then back in, you know, a few years back, you know, I was trying out the recipes, you know, that are being proposed, even that you should boil your water before. And of course, you're not going to do crazy things like this on a camping trip. You know, I just put the water in a mocha pot. First time I tried with 8 grams of the more darkly roasted Burundi beans, you know, and just put on the gas fire, and then it was really just a really nice taste. With these beans, when I make an espresso with them, for me the roast is a little bit too much, but somehow in a mocha pot, you know, I got the very chocolatey flavors, but then also some still, I could perceive some nice coffee acids, not just the bitter kind of experience that in the last years I definitely associated the mocha pot with. So for me this was very much hopeful that I could, you know, if we would go that direction of getting a Volkswagen California, we could offer it to do this Coffeelicious camping trips. You could rent the California from us, and you will get a supply of good quality coffee for your camping trip with a mocha pot, all you need, and the gas fire. So on the gas, of course, you know, I'm doing the roasting electrically because I really, well, wanted to use that electricity. But there's just these moments, especially when you end up stranded, that I was very grateful that I had the mocha pot. Much to my surprise, it just shows all the kind of theories around the mocha pot. I don't know, they're definitely not valid when you're on a Coffeelicious camping trip. For one, it might have to do with the gas heating. Maybe the gas heating really does kind of heat the water more quickly than you can do with an induction or something, another just electrical heating that, you know, mimics, you know, that strategy where you're adding boiling water to the mocha pot. You know, see any kind of those videos promoting this, you know, not very safety conservative approach to using the mocha pot. But maybe, yeah, that's what you get from the gas. Just like with coffee roasting, when you do it with gas, supposedly, because of course I only have experience with electric roasting, that of course the profiles that you get with a gas roasted coffee would then be different than what you could get with electric roasting, induction, or other methods. So, you know, electricity versus gas, it's just so complicated, both in roasting and in driving. And for me it's clear, you know, I started this out with wanting to use my solar energy, not letting it go to waste or having to, God forbid, pay for it, because at this point sometimes there's so much electricity that people just need to offload on the grid that you might have to start paying for it, which is absolutely, let's say, well, not just counterintuitive, but why would you then want to invest in it, of course? So you should invest in becoming your own home small roastery, also helping out friends and relatives. But that business model is not that easy. I mean, people in my vicinity, my neighborhood, they know I'm roasting coffee, and they think either my prices are too high, or the quality I deliver. I don't know what it is. I don't think they know that many roasters, but they still prefer going to a supermarket and buying the very cheap stuff. But that's just not good quality. Now, ironically, at this point, most of the things you would find in supermarket, but not exclusively, would be commodity coffee, not specialty, not the high-end quality product. Now, you even have commodity coffees selling above prices of specialty coffees, because the commodity coffees raised like 100% compared to a year ago, whereas specialty coffee only raised 20 to 30%. So this is a very unique opportunity where you should be exploring specialty coffees just for the economics of it at this very point. But so I started then doing the electric roasting, and at some point I might do some gas roasting just to also build up experience with it. And I was really waiting to have like a full electric California, but that seems like ages away. There's a full electric ID bus, but who knows when and if they're going to turn this into a camping van. And now it ends up that, then I do the classic one, and it ends up even with that small battery, or the flat battery, in this kind of cold circumstances. So then you're really wondering, of course, for full electric models, they don't like the low temperatures either. And it's still, despite climate change, there's still cold periods where you still need to use your vehicle, especially because one part is offering this Coffeelicious camping trips, of course, people being able to rent the camping van. But then also I want to use this to go to markets, and set up a small shop, and have enough space to load all my equipment, maybe even do some roasting on the road, on the go. That looks like it's not novelty, because that's how it used to be actually in the past. You would go to a grocery shop and you would be able to select your greens, and it would be roasted there on the spot for you. That's actually what I'm also offering now. And so I could do this by going to markets if I can load all my equipment into the California, plug in the California, and then plug in my small electric roasting machines. So you see, there's several things I could use this vehicle for. So renting, of course, to offer this nice camping trips, but with the bonus of having specialty coffee ready to go. Second thing, going to markets, selling my coffee from the markets. And the third thing, also delivering around my region with that electric capacity of 90 kilometers for the plug-in hybrid. So if you think there's any things I'm missing with this business model, things I could improve or that don't make sense, or any kind of suggestions, you can really help me with sharing that in the comments. And of course, if you are from Bruges or around, you can help me or also Dr. B, by buying some coffee from us. We're very passionate, as you can follow here on the channel, and we're happy to just do this kind of small scale roasting and give you the quality you need, you deserve. You get, well, in my case, you actually just get to pick that exact roasting level that you desire. So just go to one of the two websites. I will put them in the description, and just try it out. I am actually now also shipping to the whole of Europe. I saw with PostNL I am able to reach almost anywhere, I guess geographically Europe, for 20 euros of delivery, which it's more than what you would pay on Amazon, but it's still reasonable if you put in a 2 kilogram order. Then I guess it's not too exaggerated. I'm not able to do the trick of pretending you're not paying for the delivery. You can only do that when you have scale, and then you measure, well, I will pretend they're not paying for the delivery, and on the one side I get a very good deal with the delivery providers, and on the other side, I just add in a little bit of extra margin. I make a nice profit of it. I cannot do this. I just have to calculate directly what is the cost for delivery, and I'm doing this just one-on-one, even though you can not do an exact one-on-one because you have to calculate the taxes as well. It gets complicated. Every single small step you need to take in business, gives you something to think about. Administration or otherwise gets complicated. So I hope you really enjoyed sharing this journey with me from Ostend, where we started, to France, through Belgium to Bruges. We actually, on our way to the high campaign, we actually crossed the Netherlands near Maastricht just for a small piece. So we had a nice small, around Belgium Euro trip, you could say, except for Germany on this occasion. We love Germany, but we were just not able to make it. So thanks for following this episode, and hope to see you on the next one. Or, if we're so lucky that we can explore this business opportunity, hope to welcome you in our California.